Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our second inductee of the evening, Dave Martin.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean, he says. Yeah, well, Don is the Chuck Marlowe of radio. I knew I was going to get you. They had me worried when they needed a photo for the paintings. I don't know whether you remember, but 2 years ago, I appeared on billboards throughout the state as a guy in a Mad Hat outfit and a big red IU printed on their chest. I was afraid they were going to use that for the photo. You know, it's interesting. It's hard to believe that 30 years ago we did this. Ralph Floyd, who was a great man, he wasn't positive that we needed to do that. As I traveled the Big Ten, there weren't any Hall of Fames around, and then why the idea came to me, I can't really remember, but Ralph was not overly thrilled. But the board of directors thought it was a good idea, and then Ralph took on to it, and it's been a tremendous thing, and I'm really, really honored to be part of this. I see throughout this audience many, many friends that I met throughout the years. I think I got a good start back in 1969 working for the 150th Birthday Fund, and that was the first time they'd had a capital campaign since 1925 when they built the Student Union building. Now there seems to be a capital campaign every 3 or 4 years. But working with Mr. Armstrong and watching him work a room was a great experience for me. And I think I learned a lot from that and met a lot of friends. I kind of worry this has been technology is great. And it's amazing how quickly we can get information out to our interested people. But I kind of worry that sometimes we're losing contact with people. And again, I know there are people here that came here because I'm getting this award. And those are people that I met out in the field. Last time John Pont was here, before he passed away, he said, "Martin, remember that one year we went to 37 different outings in 2 months?" We did. Coach Mallory back here. We went to a lot of outings, didn't we? And we had contact with the people. I remember, I don't know how I got assigned some of these duties. When Coach Mallory was coming here to coach, I met him at a house that I'd found someone to rent him, and he and Ellie and the family were here. They kind of looked like the Clampetts. They had they had these great big dogs, and then they had horses and trailers, but they moved into a house where they're getting their house built. But it's just going out and visiting the people. I know, I mean, my friends from Elkhart, Indiana, and Ronnie Peoples, a smart farmer. He didn't graduate from Purdue. He has big farms. But I've had, how did I get here? Well, in the first place, I was born in a house about 5 blocks south of here. Moved to a house that was about 3 blocks away from Dunn Meadow. Then in the mid-40s, you didn't worry about traffic. My mother finally had to get a harness and clip me to the clothesline because I kept running away and going over to Dunn Meadow. My first contact with football was trying to retrieve punts from an All-American on our championship team, Mr. George Talafero over here. When I was age 5 or 6 years old in the playground in McCullough School, he would kick punts, and I'd retrieve them trying to catch him. I think he probably told me then, Martin, you aren't going to be an offensive guy. With those hands, you need to be playing defense. So, but I've known George for 65, 67 years. Yes, you are, George. But the priority point system, I'm certain you all love the priority point system. But that really started, I was getting kind of tired. I had all the physicians in Indianapolis saying all the physicians in Bloomington get the good tickets. And then all the physicians in Bloomington say all the physicians in Indianapolis, they get the good tickets. Well, we came up with a point system. Dr. Hedrick, Gene Hedrick, my really good friend, we traveled south to try to look at someone who had point systems. No one had them, so we took it on our own to develop that. And like it or not, it's the fairest way they found to assign tickets. But I think the one thing that was really one of the biggest things we did was in 1976-77, create the board of directors of the Varsity Club. That gave us some additional clout to get some things done. It kept our people involved. The point system, for instance, Dr. Ryan, he had to approve that. That's how it was that kind of hot of an item, and we made certain that there were some adjustments made regarding the gifts to other areas of the university and so forth. But the board of directors created in 1976-77, and there are several members or people in attendance here that were on that original board. I think that was kind of our springboard to the effect we have on athletics and at Indiana University. And we have been, as Scott said, a leader in athletic fundraising. It goes beyond that. But the endowment fund, it seemed to me like a pretty smart thing to do, to have a permanent endowment fund. You don't get pressure to raise that much money each year, but although now with the cost, they have to do that. But we have probably one of the top 1 or 2 athletic endowment funds around, don't we, Scott? Now, $30 million, that helps. And that doesn't include deferred gifts, planned gifts. But it's been a real pleasure for me. I mean, for 23 years, first years of my life, I lived either on campus or within 3 or 4 blocks of campus. Since then, I've just lived on the south side of Bloomington. I haven't gotten out too much. But I'm really honored. I'm really thrilled. I really, really feel honored to see so many friends that I've made throughout the state. My good friend Doctor down there, McLean. By the way, I've got to do one thing here. For those who know, that's for Dr. Charlie Van Tassel up there, but it's my pleasure to be here, and oops, oh, God, how could I forget this? I've got, you know, when I started out in 1969, I'd normally leave the house on a Monday afternoon after a staff meeting, and we'd go out on the road, and I wouldn't come back until Thursday. Well, that's when one daughter was 2 years old and the other one not quite born, but then she was born, and then we'd be on the roads like the John Ponce said, 37 outings. But in that time, I had 2 beautiful daughters. Right over here, Kelly, who's been actually part of the athletic scene since I've been around, and Kim, same thing. And then there's a little 5-month-old baby over there that's been passed around through several people, Tatum Melody Martin. But they were at elementary schools. Lots of times they'll ask the kids, "What does your daddy do?" or "What's your mommy do?" It was reported back to me. I don't know whether it's Kim or Kelly. Said, "I don't know what he really does, but he plays a lot of golf and begs for money." You know. And it's probably, and Mark Deal can kind of back me up on the history of this here, but we finally won the bucket back in what, about after the 11 or 13 Ps on it, about 1977, 79, Mark? When we got it back from Purdue. Anyway, to show and tell, the old Oaken bucket went to Childs Elementary School. So it's probably the only time that bucket has been anywhere in an elementary school. But anyway, my lovely daughters, and they've been, it's just been fun to take them along on the ride too. So anyway, thank you very much, and I feel very honored, and thank you for being here.
Good job, brother. Don't go away. We got something to give you. There you go, cuz.
Thank you. Yeah, photographer down here now.
Where's that? Where is he?
Right there. Look right in the mirror there.
Let's stand up, Dave.
I am standing up.
All right. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.